Welcome back to the Waiver Wire Plug. I'm your host Mike here to give you the best fantasy waiver wire news you could possibly imagine. We have a ton of running backs going into this week. I hope you save your fab money. I hope you haven't used your waiver wire because these are the additions that could win you your league. Now, when you win your league, send your money this way because guess what? I'm helping you win. These are the key additions. Add them up. There's not many times you can get an RB2 going into week 5 that comes back from a gunshot wound. And yes, this was a hit from his teammate Gibson, and I'm talking about Brian Robson, currently owned in 56% of the leagues, and he needs to be added. You want to know why? He started to take the role from Gibson. We saw that in the preseason when Gibson was taking off kickoff returns. Yes, add him. This is a long game, but you got to be a week early before you're a week late, so add him onto your roster. Everyone knows this player I'm about to add. I can't say his name, so pardon me. Raheem Mostert is 50% owned around the leads. 15 attempts last week for 69 yards, 3 targets, 2 catches. Great. You want to know why? Chase Edmonds only had 5 attempts last week. And yes, if you've been watching Miami games, we see the shift of power from from Chase to Raheem. You need to add him onto your roster because you can't be a week late. Finally, Raheem's going to start taking over. And you want to know why? Because he's more explosive. He has a bigger chance of making plays. He can make the big play at any time. And this offense could always... Any offense can always use a big playmaker, and he's the one. Chase, unfortunately, is going to start getting riddled out. In my opinion, I don't care that they paid him. Raheem is the guy. Tyler Algier, and yes, that's how you say it. I looked it up because I can't pronounce anybody's last name. 32% owned around the league. He's the next man up. Patterson, he's going to IR. Bummed out knee, and you hate to see it. But the rookie has something to show for it. He's from BYU. He's a 5th round pick. He has potential to be a RB2 on your team, or at least the next 4 weeks until we see Patterson again. Now, going forth, he looked great in the last week. He had 8.4 yards per carry, 10 attempts, 84 yards. You love to see it. He's a little bit of all-around back. He's not that explosive. He doesn't, break a billion tackles. He's all-around back. He's going to get you what you need to win next week's game. Now, we're finally going to add a wide receiver to our waiver wire video. And this is George Pickens, 58% owned around leads. And yes, that's pretty high, but I'll tell you why we're adding him. And now, because the Steelers finally realized that they had to bench Mitch. They had to. He looked like shit, and everybody knows it. The Steelers have looked awful, and guess what? Pickens has looked great. You saw the big play last week with that big Yayi catch. Kind of looking like OBJ, but OBJ's better. He had 8 targets this past week, 6 catches, 102 yards, and yes, he looked great out there. And Pickens only increases his value. Now, wouldn't you like to see the key words every Sunday? Pickett throws to Pickens. Come on, you gotta love it. Add it. Add him to your team. Honorably mentioned, Will Dissly. Yes, another tight end on my waiver wire video. You want to know why? Because he has 3 touchdowns out of the 4 games. 1 per game. You got to add him onto your team. 1's a maybe, 2 is definitely something, and 3 is it's happening again. So guess what? He's going to have another touchdown eventually. Maybe next week, maybe the following week. But he needs to be added onto your team. Jared Goff. Yes, we're talking about Jared Goff. Not on Sundays. We're not playing with me and Billy, playing golf. Talking about Jared Goff that needs to be added to your team. He's throwing the ball average 40 times a game. He has the highest scoring offense, which I think is like 32 points per week. And he is scoring touchdowns crazy. Last week he had nobody, and he still was a top 5 QB out there. Add him onto your team, and you know what? No matter what, he could be on your bench. Next up, Michael Gallup. He finally played his first week last week. You need to add him onto your team. He had a touchdown. Didn't show much other than that. But we'll see going forth. And last, we have a rookie, Alec Pierce. Yes, my rookie of the year. And yes, to some others, rookies of the year. He had a big week. Not big week, but it was decent. You need to add him because he's just growing. And he's showing potential. I'm telling you, add him now before he is at the end of the year catching touchdowns more than Pittman. Because guess what? Pittman, he doesn't get 100 yards every game. And Pierce can. That wraps it up for you guys. You want to know why? Because I have no more players to add on to the waiver wire list. Now, please go subscribe on all the listings below. I'm not going to name them because you should know them already. FFD underscore. Add them to your team. Well, it's not add them to your team. Add them onto your playlist. Listen to us. Follow us. Smooches. And send me money when you win the league. Thanks to me.